There is a strange way people waste their lives, not by doing nothing, not by sleeping all day, not by refusing to work. They waste their lives by constantly preparing to live. They tell themselves that one day when they have more money, more confidence, more discipline, more time, a better body, a better job, a clearer mind, then life will finally begin. But there is a problem. Life has already begun. This is it. This morning was part of it. The hour you wasted scrolling was part of it. The conversation you avoided was part of it. The opportunity you were too afraid to take was part of it. The years you call the time before my real life starts are not a waiting room. They are your life. And whether you like it or not, they are disappearing. The Stoics understood something that modern life desperately tries to make us forget. You are temporary. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, commanded armies, dealt with betrayal, war, disease, and political chaos. And still, he repeatedly reminded himself that everything around him would disappear. The people praising him, the people criticizing him, his achievements, his reputation, his body, even Rome itself. Why would the most powerful man in the world remind himself of death? Because remembering that life ends changes the way you live it. Most of your fears become smaller when placed beside mortality. Think about it. You are afraid of looking stupid. But in 100 years, who will remember? You are afraid someone may reject you. But how many years are you willing to sacrifice avoiding rejection? You are afraid to begin because you might fail. But what exactly is the alternative? To never begin, to remain safe until time makes the decision for you. There are people who spend 10 years thinking about starting something that would have taken 3 years to build. They spend 5 years thinking about getting in shape. 3 years thinking about leaving a job they hate, 2 years thinking about calling someone, months thinking about learning a skill, years waiting to become the kind of person who takes action. But that person is not coming. You create that person through action. This is one of the most uncomfortable truths about discipline. You do not become disciplined and then start doing difficult things. You become disciplined because you repeatedly do difficult things. You do not become courageous and then confront fear. Courage appears because you moved while fear was still there. You do not wait until you are confident enough to begin. Confidence is often the memory of surviving things you once thought you could not handle. And yet people continue waiting for an emotion to give them permission. They say, "I don't feel motivated today." As though motivation were a requirement. The Stoics would have found this strange. Epictetus taught that some things belong to us and others do not. Your actions belong to you. Your judgments belong to you. Your choices belong to you. The weather does not. Other people's opinions do not. Luck does not. The economy does not. Whether the world rewards you immediately does not. And your emotions are not always completely obedient either. So why would you build your entire life around waiting to feel the correct emotion? You wake up tired. Fine. What will you do? You feel insecure. Fine. What will you do? Someone doubts you. Fine. What will you do? You failed yesterday. Fine. What will you do today? That question is far more powerful than asking how you feel, because your feelings describe your current state. Your actions determine your direction, and direction matters more. A person can feel terrible while moving toward a better life. Another person can feel comfortable while slowly destroying theirs. Comfort is not evidence that you are doing well. Pain is not evidence that you are doing badly. Sometimes pain means something is wrong, but sometimes pain simply means something is difficult. And modern people have become dangerously good at confusing difficulty with wrongness. The moment work becomes uncomfortable, they wonder whether the goal is right. The moment discipline becomes boring, they search for a new system. The moment progress becomes slow, they assume it is not working. The moment someone criticizes them, they question their entire identity. But what if nothing is wrong? What if this is simply what growth feels like? What if boredom is the price of mastery? What if uncertainty is the price of freedom? What if embarrassment is the price of learning? What if rejection is the price of asking? What if failure is the price of attempting something that actually matters? You say you want a different life. Then answer a difficult question. What are you willing to repeatedly endure to create it? Not what do you want? Everybody wants something. What discomfort are you willing to accept? Do you want strength? Then accept repetition. Do you want knowledge? Accept confusion. Do you want independence? Accept uncertainty. Do you want excellence? Accept being terrible at something before becoming good. Do you want peace? Accept that some people will misunderstand you. Do you want control over your life? Then accept responsibility for your choices. This is where philosophy stops being decoration. It is easy to admire Stoicism when it is written beneath a photograph of a Roman statue. It is much harder at 6 in the morning when you do not want to get out of bed. It is harder when someone insults you. Harder when your work goes unnoticed. Harder when you lose money. Harder when someone you love disappoints you. Harder when life gives another person what you believe you deserved. That is when philosophy becomes real. Anyone can talk about controlling their emotions when nothing has happened. The test comes when something happens. Seneca wrote extensively about adversity because he understood that philosophy was supposed to prepare a person for reality, not hide them from it. You cannot demand a painless life. You cannot demand a life where nobody leaves, where nobody lies, where your body never weakens, where plans never fail, where markets never collapse, where people always recognize your value, where every effort receives a reward. That world does not exist, so perhaps the goal should not be to build a life where nothing hurts you. Perhaps the goal is to become someone who does not collapse every time life refuses to cooperate. There is strength in saying, "This is happening, I do not like it, but it is happening, now what is mine to do?" That question separates suffering from helplessness, because much of human misery comes from arguing with facts. This should not have happened, they should not have done this, I should be further ahead. My childhood should have been different, I should have had more opportunities. Maybe all of that is true, but reality does not negotiate with should. The past has already become fact. Your only leverage exists now. And this is where many people secretly give away their lives. They keep waiting for the past to become fair before they move forward. They want an apology, recognition, justice, closure, and explanation. And sometimes those things come, sometimes they do not. Do you really want to hand another person the authority to decide when your life can continue? Think carefully about that. If someone hurt you 5 years ago and you still allow that event to decide what you attempt today, who is controlling your life? If someone laughed at your dream and you abandoned it, whose decision was that? If people judged you and you changed your entire personality to avoid their criticism, are you living? Or are you performing? The Stoic goal was not emotional numbness. It was freedom. Freedom from being dragged around by every insult, every desire, every fear, every applause, every trend, every impulse. Imagine how dangerous you would become to your old life if you stopped needing approval. Imagine how much energy would return to you if you stopped rehearsing imaginary arguments. Imagine what you could build if you stopped checking whether everyone understood you. Imagine if, for 1 year, you cared more about becoming respectable to yourself than impressive to strangers. Because this is another uncomfortable question. When nobody is watching, do you respect the person you are becoming? Forget your plans. Forget your profile. Forget what you tell people. Look at your behavior. What do you repeatedly do? That is the person you are training yourself to become. Every action is a vote. Every excuse is a vote. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, a vote. Every time you break one because nobody will know, a vote. Every time you choose the difficult task before the easy distraction, a vote. Character is not built in dramatic moments alone. It is built quietly, when there is no audience. This is why a person can have enormous ambition and still remain unchanged. Ambition without daily obedience is fantasy. You can want greatness and still practice mediocrity every morning. You can want peace and feed your mind chaos every night. You can want confidence while repeatedly teaching yourself that your own promises mean nothing. At some point, you have to stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What does the life I want require from me?" That question is far less comfortable, because the answer usually includes things you have been avoiding. Sleep earlier, train, study, leave, begin, apologize, say no, delete something. End a relationship that is poisoning you. Stop spending money to impress people you do not even like. Stop pretending you are confused when you already know what you need to do. That last one hurts, because sometimes you are not confused, you are afraid, and calling fear confusion allows you to delay the decision. You know the conversation you need to have. You know the habit damaging you. You know the work you have avoided. You know the person you keep returning to. You know what the next step is. Maybe you cannot see the entire road. You do not need to. The obsession with certainty is another form of procrastination. No serious life comes with a map showing every consequence. You make decisions with incomplete information. You adjust, you learn, you continue. That is adulthood, that is courage, and that is also deeply Stoic. You are not entitled to know how everything ends. You are responsible for how you act while you do not know. There is a beautiful severity in that idea. Do the work because it is yours to do. Tell the truth because it is yours to tell. Keep your word because it is your word. Act with courage because cowardice would make you smaller, not because the universe signed a contract promising that everything will work out. It may not. Sometimes you will do everything correctly and still lose. A relationship can end despite your effort. A business can fail despite intelligent decisions. Your health can change despite good habits. Someone less prepared can receive the opportunity you wanted. This is not pessimism. It is reality. And accepting reality makes courage possible, because once you stop demanding guarantees, you become much harder to stop. You can act without knowing. You can love without owning. You can work without applause. You can begin without certainty. You can fail without turning failure into an identity. And perhaps most importantly, you can stop wasting time trying to control what was never yours. Your reputation lives in other people's minds. Let it stay there. The past no longer exists. Leave it there. The future has not arrived. Stop living there. Your life keeps returning to one place. This moment, this decision, this action, and then another. You do not need to transform your entire existence tonight. That desire itself can become another excuse. People imagine transformation as one enormous act. It usually is not. It is 100 small decisions that nobody celebrates. It is waking up and doing it again. It is resisting the urge to return to the person you were simply because that person is familiar. Familiarity is powerful. Even misery can become comfortable when you know its shape. That is why change can feel like loss. You are not only building a new life. You are abandoning an identity, the person who always quits, the person who needs permission, the person who starts Monday, the person who blames the past, the person who waits for motivation, the person who says, "one day." That version of you will fight to survive, not literally, but through habits, through excuses, through nostalgia, through the strange temptation to return to what was hurting you simply because it was known. Do not be surprised when change feels unnatural. You practiced being the old version of yourself for years. Of course, the new one feels unfamiliar. Practice longer. One day discipline will feel normal. One day silence will feel better than chaos. One day walking away will feel easier than begging to be chosen. One day the work you once avoided will simply become what you do, but you have to survive the period where the new life feels foreign. And remember, time will pass whether you change or not. This is perhaps the most merciless fact of all. The next 5 years are coming, you cannot stop them. The only question is who will meet them. Will it be the same person, carrying the same excuses, fighting the same battles, explaining the same potential, or someone different? Not perfect, not fearless, not finished, just different, stronger because they finally stopped negotiating with every uncomfortable feeling, calmer because they stopped trying to control everyone, more dangerous because their word finally means something to themselves, more alive because they stopped waiting for permission to live. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that death could come at any time, and that this fact should determine what he did, said, and thought. You do not need to become obsessed with death. You need to stop behaving as though you have unlimited life. You do not, neither do I, nobody does. One day there will be a last ordinary morning, a last coffee, a last walk, a last conversation with someone you love, a last time you close your front door, and you probably will not know it is the last one. That is not meant to make life dark. It is meant to make it valuable. Because once you understand that moments do not repeat forever, attention becomes a form of gratitude. Courage becomes urgent, love becomes urgent, work becomes urgent, truth becomes urgent. Your life becomes urgent, not frantic, urgent. There is a difference. You do not need to rush everywhere. You need to stop postponing what matters. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? And be careful with your answer, because the right time may simply mean fear. More confidence may simply mean fear. More research may simply mean fear. After things calm down may simply mean fear. Life may never become perfectly calm. You may never feel completely ready. Start anyway, speak anyway, apply anyway, train anyway, build anyway, walk away anyway. Become someone who can move without needing every emotion to agree first. The world does not need another person with enormous potential. There are millions of them. Potential is cheap. What matters is what survives contact with reality. Your habits, your choices, your character, your ability to continue. So stop preparing to become yourself. You are already becoming someone, every day. The only question is whether you are choosing who that person will be. Your life is not waiting somewhere in the future. It is happening now. And the clock has already started.